And now, let me get everything else all situated. Get you guys up on chat. It would be nice. Oh my goodness. So many windows. Never freaking ends. Okay. Think that ought to do it. All right, let's see. Boy, so I haven't seen you guys since, oh, and you know what? I need to focus that. That looks almost right. A little closer. Okay, that's good. Yeah, what y'all been up to? Let's get Rumble. I had a busy weekend. It was fun. Went and, excuse me, shot a wedding in Minnesota for a friend. It went great. Actually just handed him the footage not like an hour ago. And boy, it was beautiful. It was freaking gorgeous. Like, the first time flying in over half a decade. I think the last time was excuse me. Like right like right in the middle of COVID. That's when it was. I remember having to wear a mask, the plane having like 5 people on it, maybe if that. Yeah, first time traveling since all that. It was great, actually. It was fantastic. It's like back to normal, other than the stupid body scan thing. Goofy, but quick, at least. Lines move fast. I have no idea what my body's being irradiated with, but whatever. it's only a little dose. It'll be fine. I didn't have the dreaded quadruple S tag that people talk about if you were like ever in the capital area at any time around January 6th, or possibly other things like online activity, who even knows. Didn't have that, just busted right on through. They did look through one of my bags one time, but it was full of like camera gear and batteries and stuff. They got to check that. Like they didn't do it on the way out, but the way back they did it. It was very quick. It was very simple. Just took a quick peek through the bag, and very nice. Actually, a reasonably pleasant experience with the airport security TSA regime. Really wasn't that bad. Nice. Steph says I've been flying a lot this past year too. All pretty good. Yeah, I was surprised to was surprised by the experience. Like I mean, before all the COVID stuff happened, I have to say, like, I loved traveling. I loved the whole. I mean, aside from airplanes just generally sucking these days, and service being terrible, and you don't even get a whole can of soda. They just give you like a little dinky freaking plastic cup. But that aside, I just love the general experience, like going to an airport and eating food that you just, like, in a weird situation where there's just something fun about it. I don't know. Like the whole vibe, the whole experience. I just had fun. So it was cool. It was good. Boy. Well, I don't know if I should announce this or not. She's probably gonna kill me. I found out I'm gonna be a dad again. That was the good news from the other week. I'm gonna be dad again. We don't know what it is, but I'm gonna be a dad for the second time, and I'm like over the freaking detail. I'm like super excited. I'm so freaking pumped. Roughly 5 weeks maybe. We don't know exactly yet how far along, but we shall find out soon. I know, isn't it great news? Isn't it great? So it might mean me being a little more busy, which I know, unfortunate for you guys, but I couldn't be happier. So, and the little one too. Oh my gosh, they're gonna be almost 14 years apart, which is pretty wild, but also kind of cool. Because she's gonna, the perfect babysitting age. Like, she wants twins. She's actually triplets. I was like, what? I haven't even, what? Excuse me? That hasn't even crossed my mind at this point. 2 of them? Whoa, calm down. Although I would probably be double as overjoyed if that happened, to be honest. As crazy and hectic as it would be. Just shut phone. So yeah, that's the big news. That's the big news. That's why she's officially no longer doing her show. As of yesterday, she's stepped back. I know you guys will miss her, but believe me, she's gonna be busy. I know. So that's what's going on in my life. Thank you for all the wonderful congratulations rolling in. Tip jar's open if you feel like throwing anything to the baby fund. you know where to throw it. God knows we're gonna need it. But anyway, with that good personal news, I guess we can jump into the main event. Give me a second here. I'll be happy with whatever it is, boy or girl, or one of each, Who knows? Twins, like, can you even imagine? Although I did look up, like, because I seem to remember something about, like, pregnancies over a certain age having, like, an increased chance for twins, increased odds of getting twins. It's fraternal twins, specifically for women over 35, which we qualify for. So who knows? Who knows what will happen? And thank you for throwing that link out, Steph. I appreciate that. I ought to grab my personal one too. I suppose technically you probably ought to be tossing it to the personal, not to PSB. What am I looking for here? PayPal. And did I pop out my chat? Yes, I did. Cool. All right, let me see what I have tagged over the many days since I've seen you guys. And did I drop that into Rumble? There we go. Anyway, in conclusion, please pray that everything goes well. And I know y'all are already on it, but I would much appreciate that. Let's see. Oh, Hassan running from questions. I think I tagged this because I hadn't watched it yet, so let's see it.
You said soak the streets in capitalist blood.
Whoa! Whoa! Ooh!
Kill those motherfuckers!
Oh, he did say that. Jeez. I gotta turn my speakers down for you YouTube people, because I bet that's coming through kind of hot. And let's adjust our volume here too.
Murder those motherfuckers in the street.
That's better.
Let the streets soak in their Red capitalist bloods, dude.
What did that mean?
It's called LARPing.
What does that mean? Should people take
That didn't sound like LARPing. You sounded very serious.
you seriously?
Live action role play.
Should people take you seriously?
Jest, hyperbole amongst
You
friends.
say hyperbole a lot, but when are you being serious versus hyperbolic?
You got to make that decision on your own.
So it's really, if you get blowback, you just say you were being sarcastic or hyperbolic.
I think there's a lot of blowback to virtually everything that I'm saying. Unfortunately, by the likes of people like yourself, it is what it is. It happens.
Are you evading responsibility for your words?
No, not at all.
Did you work with the Cuban government?
Excuse me. Excuse me.
He did.
Excuse me.
Hassan, did you work with the Cuban government? Hassan, are you working with foreign governments? Hassan, did you work with the Cuban government? Like, look. What are you doing, mustache?
Oh yeah, that'll show you blowing his microphone. Oh yeah, whoa.
Look at this. Look, why is your guy getting violent with me? Why is your guy trying to
Getting violent.
put my mic?
Violence?
Get out of here.
He's giving you a comment. That's not violence.
Watching it all fall apart. You're getting so ass mad.
I'm gonna say it anyway. And here's the thing.
Watch this guy. Also, king of ass mad.
What's happening right now in this country is already past the line. We've already passed what should have been the line for revolution. What's happening right now with ICE and with everything else is our Boston Tea Party, right? Like
Oh man.
our Boston Tea Party moment. Like taxation without representation.
Yeah, it's totally like taxation without representation when illegal aliens come in and your money gets dumped into their pockets without your consent. Oh, wait.
Well,
That's not what you meant, right?
we are at the point where we don't have rights. We've sacrificed all of our rights so that corporations can be rich. We've sacrificed all of our rights so that billionaires can exist. And I don't give a fuck how you feel about that. That's the fact. I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway.
Deep fried. This is freaking crazy. This has been going on for a few days. I don't know if Meta has corrected the problem yet or what, but apparently for quite some time, Meta had this AI feature enabled that would allow, in certain situations, allow an attacker to target your account and basically get it to reset the password and send them the new password and take over your account. There's only some accounts because it was basically like a beta test thing where they were like, it's called like A/B testing. Like on some accounts they would give the feature to it, and other accounts they'd give another feature set just to kind of see how people react to each one, kind of, right? So only some accounts got the the beta feature implemented, but as soon as the attackers figure out which accounts those are, it's as simple as going back and forth with the AI and convincing it that you've A, lost your password, and B, don't have access to your previous email address and you need it sent to a new one. And you would do this apparently by simply getting a VPN that would be set to the location where the person is from. So it would that's all that would be required to trick their system into thinking, oh, okay, that's the person in question. I can give up the password. It's fine. It's crazy. Tons of massively high-profile accounts getting lost, including the Obama White House, like the official archived Obama White House account, which is sketchy, for one. Okay, Meta has since patched it, but I understand it was exploitable for quite a while. Only kind of recently became public. Crazy. Exactly the kind of thing that I'm trying to build my shit for. I wish I could say more. It's getting closer and closer every day. It's pretty fun. I don't even know why I tagged that. Oh yeah, one of the missing scientist people got their body was found. Yeah, the lady, or one of the ladies, Melissa Casillas, 53-year-old administrative assistant at Los Alamos National Laboratories. So not a scientist, but an administrative assistant at a facility where science is done. Well, it's kind of close, I guess. They would. The point is, they would still have access, I would assume, to highly sensitive goings on and documents and so on and so forth. Knowledge generally, you know, I don't know to what extent, but I would think as an administrative assistant, depending on, you know, who and what for, they could have access to quite a bit. She was last seen disappeared June 26, 2025 after doing everyday errands like dropping lunch off to her daughter. She was last seen on surveillance near her Ranchos de Taos home, leaving behind her locked house, car, wallet, and her cell phones, which curiously were factory reset, which is, I think, maybe the most interesting part. And I'm not sure whether to think that that is because someone killed her and was trying to cover up evidence, or she killed herself due to certain embarrassing circumstances and was trying to cover up evidence. I think both are reasonably plausible. I have no idea. I guess she was found with a handgun or something. And the details beyond that are kind of sparse from what I've seen anyway. So I might have tagged one more piece on this, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I did.
Last night, as identified remains found last night as the missing woman Melissa Casillas from Taos. She was last seen June 26th of last year after she failed to arrive at work, leaving behind personal belongings like her purse, ID, and cell phones. Authorities say a hiker found her body in the McGaffey Ridge area of the Carson National Forest on Thursday. Investigators also telling us they located a handgun alongside the remains. The cause of death has not yet been determined. Just around an hour ago, Casillas' family issuing a public statement saying, "We confirm that the remains found in Rio Chiquito are Melissa. This is a lot to process. Our hearts are heavy and we fully intend to continue to pursue answers and justice," they write. We're told Casillas' remains are going to be examined further by the Office of the Medical Examiner. Stay with KUAT as we continue to follow these major developments in this case. Identified remains found last night as the missing woman Melissa Casillas from Taos. She was last seen June 26th of last year after she failed to arrive at work, leaving behind personal belongings like her purse, ID, and cell phones. Okay. Authorities say a hiker...
Sorry, that looped. Going to fetch my tea. There we are. Oh boy, and then all this business with Trump and Bibi. My goodness, what is going on with this? According to Axios, someone who was clearly allowed to hear things, I don't think there's any other way this would have gone down. President Trump unloaded on Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu over Israel's escalation in Lebanon in what is allegedly an expletive-laden call on Monday. Something to the effect of, "You're effing crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you now. Everybody is mad at Israel because of this." So on and so forth. Yeah. Oh, this was kind of interesting. This is from the Stanford Review, independent paper for Stanford. I don't know. Independent to what extent? Heard of them before? Excuse me. Just don't remember in what context. And But they had an interesting piece here. Just like an independent student paper, I guess. Investigational whistleblower has leaked Stanford's private foreign funding records to the Stanford Review, revealing millions in funding from Chinese state-linked entities and CCP donors. Surprise, surprise. Oh, come on now. This was the anniversary of Radix's cousin passing away overseas serving. Not officially for the military, but as a contractor. Well, I mean, I guess that's still officially kind of for the government, rather. But yep, almost 20 years, 19 years. He worked for MVM. I don't know if they're still around. Yep, looks like it. A Blackwater-esque outfit. Actually based right around here. Go figure. Of course. Let's see. New interview with Sam Altman. Let's hear it.
I have no interest in like building a super smart AI that accomplishes some non-human goals. Like this has got to be about something that is working for people, and that people are at the center of it, and human values are what we drive forward. So people should react. People should say, hey, this is what I want and not this. Right. I don't think it's about not explaining the benefits, because we say, hey, AI is going to cure a bunch of diseases, and people say, okay, that's great, but like that's not really my question. No. My question is, what is my role in the future? What is my economic future? What is my agency? Like, how do I know that my kids, my family will still be able to have a fulfilling, creative expression, struggle to drive the world forward, to grow, to kind of...
So I guess they're finally realizing that telling people that they're not going to matter and everything that they do will be pointless in like 5 years, and like what is really the point of people at this point is that's not really a good sales tactic. They're finally getting this?
Do this thing together in a way that has worked for a long time. And when you have people in AI say, well, yeah, sure, there's going to be no jobs, or 50% of jobs are going to go away, or 90% of jobs are going to go away, and AI is kind of going to be smarter than you at everything, and we'll give you some basic income, but there's like you're not really going to have a role.
Nobody wants that.
I mean, that is and by the way, this AI company, maybe we're going to destroy all the jobs, we'll be the most valuable company in the world. People just look at you and you're like, yeah. So I think it's a terrible message, and I don't think it's that we haven't articulated the upsides. I think people actually believe us. Like, you know what, go cure cancer, that sounds great. I think we have failed to articulate as an industry how people stay in control of determining the future at every step and have a really meaningful life in all of the ways we care about.
Took them long enough, I guess. I just don't know that they mean it at this point.
Hurtful.
Mr. Huang's input on the matter.
On the one hand, maybe a scientist thinks that by warning people that AI is going to completely permeate and proliferate across radiology, and therefore radiologists are going to get wiped out. On the one hand, that might be considered warning and therefore helpful, but in fact, the counter would have been hurtful. If we convinced everybody not to be radiologists, and we now need radiologists, that actually is hurtful to society.
Terrible, in fact. Like, really bad.
It is hurtful if we convince all the young college graduates to not be software engineers, and it turns out the United States need more software engineers than ever. That's hurtful. And so we have to be mindful of how we
Freaking Dario's out there telling everyone, oh yeah, 50% of all like junior level legal jobs will be gone. There will be no point of view even existing. Just out there nonchalantly saying this on news interviews, like it's no problem.
Of this technology and what it's able to do to advocate.
Who knows whether he's even right or not? Somehow I don't think he is.
For policy and advocate for guardrails on the one hand, on the other hand, scaring people with things like saying nonsensical things which are not going to happen, that this is an existential threat to humanity. There's 20% chance that is existential. That's ridiculous. That it's going to wipe out 50% of new college grad jobs. That it's going to completely destroy democracy. I mean, these kind of comments are not.
Yeah, he said that too.
Helpful. They're not based. They're made by people who are like me, CEOs. And somehow because they became CEOs, you adopt a God complex, and before you know it, you know everything. And so I think we have to be careful and really ground ourselves to talking about the facts. The facts are this. The facts are AI has created more than 500,000 jobs in the last couple of years. The facts are AI is our best opportunity to reindustrialize the United States, to bring manufacturing jobs back to the United States. The facts are that's going to generate hundreds of thousands of jobs, trillions of dollars in new economy back into the United States. The fact of the matter is companies that use AI have demonstrated the ability to grow faster. When they grow faster, they hire more people. Apparently, AI creates jobs. And so the question is, why?
For now, that is certainly,
is it that
absolutely the case?
On the one hand, I'm telling you, AI creates jobs. On the other hand, they destroy jobs. Well, the very simple idea is this. Let's pretend for a second that the total lines of code that we have to write in the United States is 1 billion lines of code. And that 1 billion lines of code was supported by 10 million software developers and about $1 trillion worth of the economy. And that 1 billion lines of code are now going to be automated because most of it is going to be written by AI. Well, if our job is basically typing, and 1 billion lines of code are now automated away, you would come to the conclusion $1 trillion worth of jobs will be destroyed. But that's fundamentally wrong for two reasons. The first reason is the task of our job and the purpose of our job are related, not the same. If you apply that to me, you would come to the conclusion what Jensen does for a living is tap on phones and talk. And tapping on phones and talking, AI has done that just fine. And therefore, my job should be gone. But I'm busier than ever. And so there's a fundamental difference between the purpose of the job and the task of the job. And so that's one. The second thing is, it is a fundamental flaw that we only need 1 billion lines of code written. We need 1 trillion lines of code written. We need, way more.
1 billion is nothing. Like nothing.
More code written than that because we have the imagination of solving problems, whether it's in healthcare or science or in manufacturing and retail and just luxury living. All of the different fields that we have lots and lots of imaginations of all the things that we can do.
I myself have done 200, probably closer to 300,000 now on this one project, 300,000 lines. And a good portion of that was me learning. So
if we just didn't have to type anymore, we could go and do those things. And so maybe it's just because in the last 50 years, society has this one little device with a keyboard on it consumed all of our lives to the point where we just can't imagine living without typing anymore. And so we'll figure it out, you guys. I mean, the idea that being human means to hunch over on this little thing, typing all the time,
that still isn't going away, by the way. That's what I do when I do this. I'm still hunched over a keyboard, tapping away. I'm just able to do a lot more in a lot less time.
50 years before that, people didn't do that. And so in the future, we're going to do less of that. We're going to do more of something else.
As you know, we have the expo next week, and I think part of the, as you know, SCSP really believes in AI adoption. The reason
I'm not
why
against anybody who loves typing. I'm just saying there's more to life than typing.
The reason why we do
something else.
The reason why we do the expo is because we want people to see the.
All right, now they're just sharting about silly event. Interesting answer though. All right. Oh, what was that?
I have no interest in like building a, you know.
Oh, we did that. Oh, now we get to the UK. Oh boy, what a train wreck! What is going on here? Police coming under attack in Southampton by angry protesters. This looks fun.
The police are getting outnumbered now. A little bit of police brutality. A little bit of police brutality here now. Sorry, mate. Balls are getting chucked in.
They're chucking garbage cans at them?
They're chucking the stuff away over the people's gardens. Here we go. Stuff is getting chucked in left, right, and centre. But as usual, guys, we are right in the thick of it. And we ain't fucking sick of it. But it wasn't. But it weren't him. It weren't him. It weren't him. It weren't him. It wasn't him. It weren't him.
It wasn't him. It wasn't.
The police are now retreating. Back up this way. The police are soon retreating. It's still going already. Your Wesley's running.
I just want to know what started all of this.
Oh, bricks. In trouble here.
Is this over the guy that got stabbed? And I assume it's got to be that. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. But yeah, the young guy that got stabbed and basically, what did they, like, handcuff him and not do anything about it? Kept trying to tell him he'd been stabbed, and they just said, no, you haven't. While he was sitting there choking on his own blood. Yeah. Disgusting. Oh, yeah, White House signed an executive order on AI today. The one from, like, a couple weeks back, I guess the White House modified it after Trump turned it down, and now it's been put through. From what I understand, it sounds like it's been changed from like a hard requirement for AI companies to like have their models approved ahead of release to instead being a voluntary disclosure process where they can voluntarily send the model to the government ahead of time so that the government can prepare the appropriate cybersecurity entities and make sure that everything is ready ahead of the thing being publicly released. Make sure that it won't be used to hack into systems, important systems, and so on and so forth. Which I think is, for now, I suppose, reasonable medium. I don't know. I haven't really delved into the full details of it yet, but maybe we'll find something on it here. In fact, let's see what this says. All right, let's see if we can get a summary here. Come on. Okay. Promoting advanced artificial intelligence, innovation, and security. Signed today. Give me like the summary, man. Bottom line. Okay. It's narrowly focused on voluntary collaboration with Frontier Labs on cutting-edge cyber-capable models, you know, the ones that can hack stuff, to bolster U.S. cyber defenses. Not mandatory pre-approval or oversight of the entire AI industry, which I'm glad they decided against that, because that would have been the wrong direction. Prioritizes innovation while giving the government and critical infrastructure a limited head start on understanding and mitigating risks from the most advanced systems. No licensing, no forced delays, and no broad regulatory regime, which is good. Okay, and that we saw. Now let's get to the main part. Oh yeah, Dr. Oz gave a press conference. I don't remember what about yet, but we'll see. Oh, and bullshit's going on in LA. Yeah, I meant to check up on that. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get some on what's going on there. Vindman runs away when asked if Graham Plattner, who has a Nazi tattoo, should drop out. The same guy who slanders Republicans as Nazis. What was his response?
As a Jewish American, do you have a problem with the main Senate Democrat having a Nazi tattoo?
Nope, he does not.
I think that these are questions that should be put before the electorate. I think it's he has to answer those questions. He has to answer those questions to the satisfaction of his electorate. I think those are the fundamental issues that are put before folks before they vote. But
do you think he should drop out? No.
Coward.
Was funded by Chinese interests. It appears that
Piker's Cuba trip bankrolled by Chinese interests, allegedly? Wouldn't shock me. It sounds like it was, but by Hassan's own admission, what's his name? Neville, what's his stupid ass name? Singham. State Department officials meeting with Israel and Lebanon ambassadors. It's today, this morning.
Thank you, press. Will Israel stop targeting journalists and first responders and doctors in southern Lebanon? Will you extend the ceasefire to South Lebanon?
Thank you, press. Thank you.
Jeff Van Drew, who was just inside Delaney Hall. Congressman, it's good to have you with us. The governor, Mikey Sherrill, said that she doesn't know why
Delaney Hall?
These individuals started attacking people, and I want to get to,
Was that the ICE facility, Delaney Hall?
We just heard from Markwayne Mullin, the secretary, about people coming from Portland who are in this crew.
Oh, how about that?
Who's funding them potentially? But just give us a sense, first of all, sir. What did you see in there? Who is being held there and why? And what are the conditions? Just the facts.
Well, just the facts, and I really dug in and we really looked at the entire place. Let me tell you, I was actually surprised how nice it was. I thought it would be okay, but I don't know that people know they have a soccer field there, they have a major workout equipment of all types, they have medical care, they have a physician there, they have a dentist there, they have nurses there, they have all kinds of food. If you're allergic to a particular food, they have food for those that are allergic. They have food for those that are kosher. They They have food for those that are Islamic, halal. I mean, this is better treatment than people generally receive.
Yeah, what?
In most places, wherever they go. It is shocking what the left and the Democrats are doing. They have created this situation by putting out completely false and untrue information that it isn't nice in there.
And what else is new?
It is clean, it is safe, it is nice. And I got to tell you, I meet a lot of people from around the world and around the country. The conditions there are better than 90% of the world lives in, and probably half of America.
Jeez.
On Memorial Day, making false allegations about the facility, about the food, the medical care, hunger strikes. I went into that facility. I went through the medical. I went through outdoor recreation, indoor recreation. I even made a surprise visit this weekend and walked into the cafeteria and ate the same meal that the detainees around me were eating.
Nice.
And I made sure my tray equaled their tray. I had spaghetti and meat sauce. I had beans. I had green beans. I had bread and rolls. I had drinks. I had dessert.
That don't sound too bad to me.
The food was good. It's all a false premise. There was never a hunger strike.
What, just because they're not getting beef tongue tacos or something?
Say, oh, people are on hunger strikes. No, they weren't. They may not be eating in the cafeteria, but what I found out, they're ordering food from the commissary and eating in their cells. So there wasn't any abuse. It's not inhumane conditions. I went to the entire facility. I ate the same meal they ate. That facility is well run, and the governor keeps saying she's going to keep raising hell if that facility shuts down. Well, I got news for the governor. That facility isn't going anywhere. We're going to enforce the law. We're going to detain people. We're going to remove people. Matter of fact, a lot of the people in that facility we couldn't release because they're mandatorily detained by federal statute. So we couldn't release them if we even wanted to. But we're not going to release any of them. Everybody in that facility I have ascertained is legally being detained. Legally being detained. Many of them, again, mandatory detention, many of them criminals.
Iran's top brass caves.
And continue. Trump can sit with the blockade and continue to do damage to a comatose economy and continue to just eradicate it. And he holds all the leverage. And negotiations don't minimize leverage. Leverage happens, or negotiations happen because of leverage. So Trump is in a great position. And let me say this, I'll finish with this, to his comment about the Democrats relaxing. You know, we finally have a president that's actually making decisions, not like a first-term president or a CEO looking at the quarterly reports worried about the stockholders. He's making foundational decisions of what's right for Americans a decade from now. Trump can sit with the blockade and continue to do damage to a comatose.
Assistant
Hakeem Long were at the ICE facility in New Jersey to protect criminals.
So the acting
surprise.
Assistant Secretary for Homeland Security had a comment about your claims and other criticisms, saying sanctuary politicians are spreading categorically false smears about ICE's Delaney Hall facility in New Jersey.
That's him.
These types of smears are inciting violent riots outside the ICE facility in New Jersey. No lawbreakers in the history of human civilization have been better treated than illegal aliens. What do you say to that?
Well, it's a wildly irresponsible claim, but this is what we should expect from the Department of Homeland Security and ICE, which is deeply unpopular.
So the acting assistant secretary.
Texas DPS disrupts 2 major smuggling attempts, recovering about 40 illegals in less than 10 days. Aquí. Vámonos.
No van a correr, no vas a correr.
Okay, New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani signed an executive order repealing bedtime so that the kids can watch the Knicks in the NBA Finals, no matter how late the games are. Cute.
Digging into
EPA Chief Lee Zeldin digging into that $29 billion in green energy grants that he blocked Oh, every last cent was bullshit. I guarantee it.
Reed Zeldin, the EPA chief, and he said that he's been digging into that $29 billion in green energy grants that he blocked, money that he saved the American taxpayers. It was going out the door at the end of the Biden administration. He told me today he has found a major self-dealing scandal. In other words, Obama and Biden administration officials were moving money around to former cabinet secretaries, to donors, to political activists. Stacey Abrams, one of them, we know about that from our reporting earlier this year. And that he's now...
Repeat?
Abrams, one of them, donors to political activists. Stacey Abrams, one of them.
Stacey Abrams. No shit.
We know about that from our reporting earlier this year. And that he's now made several criminal referrals. Go check out that story tomorrow morning at justthenews.com. We'll have all the details, all of the receipts from that. With that, let me turn to...
Soon appears skeptical of Trump pick for acting DNI. Who was it again? It's Pulte, right? Bill Pulte. Yep. New York Democrat Rep Dan Goldman's opening statement in a debate about how to help New Yorkers. Wait a second. What the? Sneaky.
These are serious times with serious challenges, and this is not a moment for career politicians desperately seeking another job. We have a fascist in the White House pulling strings with the secret police abducting our nation.
Yeah, that's why you're permitted to just go on every network out there and make your retarded case to every idiot on your side. So fascist, I know.
And a system rigged by his billionaire buddies.
Hezbollah will not accept partial ceasefire with Israel, says a senior official to the AFP 5 hours ago. I don't know if that's changed since. We shall see. Polls open in LA, and Karen Bass is mortified after reports of LA businesses reeling over crime under her watch, saying homeless people are wreaking havoc. They are.
Into the Bill. Yeah, we've spent hours yesterday walking up and down downtown where we spoke to small businesses that are still sticking it out here. I want to show you some of the stories that we heard, and they all center around safety. One of them here, this dry cleaner, said someone took a scooter just like this one, threw it through the window while one of the business owners was inside.
Makes sense.
Not only harming him.
That's what I do when I'm mad.
But causing his wife to feel so unsafe that she, as one of the business owners, won't even come into the store downtown. They say they've stolen $30,000 or so from this store, and another homeless person had used their dressing room here as a bathroom. Now I want to take you over to Erwin Padula's store.
How else are they going to pee and poop?
Here, Weird Beers. He's been here for 30 years. He says that his glass has been shattered as well. You'll notice he has this wood boarded up here, and he doesn't plan to replace it with glass because he says there's no point. They're going to do it again. He'd rather spend that money on inventory.
And then they'll pee or poop in your dressing room.
Now, this is important to note that he doesn't even want to watch the security footage because he believes that the police don't have the capacity and enough people to come and help him. And he wants the mayor's candidates to now make him feel less ignored. We asked, did any of the candidates come to speak to him? He said no. That includes all three major candidates, Rahman, Pratt, and current Mayor Bass. I asked him what he would say to them if he had the opportunity.
I don't think they need me to tell them what they need to do because they talk about it every day on TV or on their ads that they place on, so they know what the issues are. The problem is that are they going to really do something about it? I really don't think so.
And Bill, those were just two of several stories that we heard. Back to you.
I'm sure there are more. Kelly Saberi, thank you in Los Angeles. We will watch the vote.
So how's Pratt doing? Federal authorities investigating an apparent prank that forced a United Airlines flight to turn around midair after a passenger's Bluetooth device was reportedly named Bomb. Oh, that's smart.
Federal
officials are investigating an apparent prank that caused a United plane to turn around mid-flight. The plane was heading to Spain from Newark Airport when someone noticed the name of a passenger's Bluetooth device. The device name was Bomb. The flight was cleared after a security search and was able to continue on to its destination. Federal officials.
Insane. What? Oh, please. Who's allegedly going to be building this? I don't believe it. Nope. Plans released for a $16 billion, 1 mile long ship capable of carrying 80,000 people. You can plan all you want. Building that shit's that's a whole nother story. That's just insane. 8 times the size of the current largest ship in the world, the Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas. Actual floating city at that point. That's just nuts. How are they going to power it? Okay, Marco Rubio testifying at U.S. Senate just walked out to a packed hearing. Leftist protester immediately started raging and yelling. Stop murdering Cubans, he says. Something about Telemundo? I don't know. Oh, is it the it's the priest again? Look at all the young people here.
Okay, because I'm going to have a police officer here right now, so this needs to be cleared for a police officer.
Perfect examples in our own.
Okay, here we go.
I'll give you a perfect examples in our own Western Hemisphere, an area that this committee and many of its members long argued, as I did, has long been neglected and not been paid attention to. We now have in this hemisphere a coalition of friendly countries, over a dozen, who have aligned to work on not just the issues of security that we all have in common, but also economic prosperity that go hand in hand. It's an amazing story that basically, other than Nicaragua, other than Cuba, obviously other than Venezuela, remains with some challenges, and of course Brazil, although they're in the midst of an election cycle, and to some extent the current government in Colombia as well, at least the president's been problematic. But generally speaking, it is now a region filled with American allies, American-friendly leaders, and an America-friendly direction. Now, obviously, we have to operationalize that into action after 20 years of neglect, in which China and other global powers have intruded in our Western Hemisphere to the detriment not just of American national interests, but to the detriment, in our view, of the people of those countries as well. So these are important achievements, and one that I'm very happy about.
Okay.
But part of that agreement was that they would reopen the straits. They did not, at which point the president decided, and I think appropriately, we can't have a world in which only Iranian ships get through the straits. And so if they're going to shut down the straits for everybody, we're going to shut down the straits for them. And we have done that through a very effective blockade and, by the way, through the seizure of sanctioned ships in the Indo-Pacific as well. The cost to Iran every single day in lost revenue is in the hundreds of millions of dollars that they are losing in lost revenue that they're not generating as a result of that. Now, we are in talks, and I say talks because talks with Iran are not like talks with Switzerland. Okay? They're very different. They require the use of intermediaries, unfortunately. But there is the prospect before us, which could happen today, it could happen tomorrow, it could happen next week, that for the first time, certainly in my memory, they have agreed to negotiate aspects of their nuclear program that just a month ago, just a year ago, they were refusing to even mention, much less enter into discussions about. That is not a guarantee that ultimately it will lead to a deal that's acceptable to the Senate or acceptable to the American people. But we'll be able to engage them in a process to truly test the proposition of how far they're willing to go. Complicating that process, unfortunately, is their internal regime is somewhat fractured in the sense of it takes days to get responses from their system. We can go into more depth in your follow-up questions. But we're hopeful that something like that could happen in which the straits would reopen, we would enter into a period of negotiations on very specific topics, delineated negotiations, in the hope of reaching an outcome that's acceptable to us and something that they would be able to do as well. If it doesn't work out, then obviously we still have a problem with respect to their nuclear ambitions. But what they won't have is the conventional shield to hide behind any longer.
Thank you, Secretary.
Concerned or have been concerned in the past make it work. But we are concerned or have been concerned in the past about organizations that sort of have lost their purpose and what they're advancing. And at the end of the day, look, we have a lot of resources. The United States is the richest country in the world. We have the largest government budget in the world, but we don't have unlimited resources. We still have to be able to strategically spend our money. And the State Department, you know, when I took over, a lot of people are like, oh, that's a mess. State Department's not that big. The majority of our employees are local hires overseas. We have, you know, foreign service officers, career civil servants, but compared to some of these other agencies that are out there, we're not that large, and yet we have a global footprint. We're really, other than the department, I would say beyond the Department of War, we're the only ones that are present almost everywhere on the planet. So we have limited resources, and we have to be able to allocate those resources in ways that are driven by the core mission of advancing our national security. And oftentimes that will mean that things we have paid for in the past, we can't continue to fund because there are other things. It might be good, but there might be something else that's more important and even better. Other cases, we may still spend money on a purpose, but we want to be driven not just by, we don't want to be judged just by how much money we're spending on something. We also want outcomes for it. We want to show outcomes. That's been the goal behind these MOUs, these compacts with the 32 countries that we've entered into in a week plan, is we're not just trying to solve the disease problem this year. We're trying to build the local capacity so that 5 years from now, they won't need aid anymore because their local systems can handle it. Saying 5 years, some countries may take 10 years, but nonetheless, that's the goal, and it's been very well received.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Lee. Senator Merkley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Secretary. Good.
Me.
Tim Kaine melting down in Rubio because the U.S. keeps striking the narco boats.
There's evidence of narcotics on the boat. That is not a targeting criteria.
I'm sorry, what? What did he just say? I have to speak up there, Tim. Creepy Tim.
Surprised me. There's evidence of narcotics on the boat. That is not a targeting criteria. I have been briefed on Southern Spear since the first operation on September 2 and most recently within the last couple of weeks, and I've asked again and again, have the targeting criteria changed? No, they have not. What are the criteria? Here's what they are. I can't describe it here. But the presence of narcotics on the boat has never been a targeting criteria.
What about the presence of chemical weapons, sir?
Would you have any ability to explain?
Because I can tell you, fentanyl has absolutely been used as a chemical weapon. So,
and
like legitimately, like in weapons, like actually rather famous case in is it Russia years back?
The administration could have picked that as a targeting criteria. They chose items that were targets, that authorized the use of the U.S. military to sink boats and kill people, but they have not used the presence of narcotics on the boat as one of the targeting criteria. And I would suggest to my colleagues, if you go look at the individual files of all the strikes, and I've looked at the first 46, they are consistent with what I've just said about something that's not on the list of targeting criteria. Why would the administration not include the presence of narcotics on the boat as a targeting criteria, not Operation Southern Spirit?
As you just outlined, I can't discuss the specifics of the targeting criteria, but I can tell you the one thing that is obvious is that the targeting criteria is not single source. In essence, there are multiple checks.
There are 3 elements to the targeting criteria.
Right, and all of it informed and infused by intelligence collection. In essence, they have to have true links. I can tell you they do walk away from strikes. There are multiple times that I've been aware. I'm not aware of every strike because it's not reported on a regular basis, delegated. Yeah. But there have been strikes that they've walked away from because it doesn't meet the criteria or because there's doubt.
I'm not saying that the strikes that I've reviewed don't meet the targeting criteria, but I'm saying...
Then what the fuck are you saying? Could you just say what you're saying? Because I'm having trouble figuring out what the fuck it is.
What it is, especially since the administration always announced this is against narco traffickers. We've attacked narco traffickers. How odd it is that the presence of narcotics on a boat is not one of the targeting criteria. And I would encourage my colleagues, get the same briefing I've gotten, take a look at the strike files. You'll be as surprised as I am. Here's the second question.
I guess we don't get to hear the second question. Oh well. Poopy.
Terrorism and its supported groups, for example. Cuba has sponsored terrorism and its supported groups. For example, virtually every left-wing, radical, violent terrorist group in the Western Hemisphere has at some point relied on support from Cuba. The ELN, the FARC dissidents, including them, have been involved there. We also know, for example, that Cuba continues to host a pretty substantial collection intelligence sites on behalf of the Chinese and the Russians. But you look at the region and you look at all of these leftist Marxist terrorist organizations, all of them, in many cases, got their seed money from the Cubans. Cuba has sponsored terrorism and its supported groups. For example, virtually every left-wing, radical, violent terrorist.
All right, there we go.
In exchange, for the nuclear program, in exchange for...
I don't know if I can suffer through all 5 minutes of this.
Or getting rid of the fissile material out of country, I imagine, is what you're... God,
this freaking eyes are so creepy. Look at him. Just look at him.
Enriched uranium. We would release...
I feel like he's going to just jump out and axe murder me or something.
Sanctions, is that correct?
Well, it's not just that. It's also their enrichment activity. They would have to, they would have to make very severe and significant concessions on what they intend to enrich in the future.
And already with the March relaxing of sanctions, allowing Iranians to sell oil to the Chinese, estimates have been between $10 and $50 billion they got from that relaxing of sanctions. How much money might we see in a deal in our relaxings of sanctions in order to get rid of the highly enriched uranium and stop their enrichment?
Well, let me just tell you on that portion, the sanctions that were released on Iran were boats on the water. And so that oil was already out in the marketplace. It was sold at market rates, but the sanctions covered, and to the extent we've been able to enforce them, we have the revenues of those sales. So yeah, the Iranian oil was unsanctioned so that it could be sold, but the revenue would have to flow back to blocked accounts, which our sanctions were able to go after. We've also seized, I believe, 6 vessels in the Indo-Pacific that involved Iranian sanctioned oil on top of it. So that wasn't necessarily a trade. They didn't get $50 billion directly as a result of. They might have gotten some of it. They certainly didn't get the majority of it. They are now losing hundreds of millions of dollars a day in revenue because of the blockade. And the blockade exists because of what they're doing in the Straits.
Right, and I guess the conclusion I have, and my time's expired, is that the Strait of Hormuz was open before this unjustified war. We're now scrambling to try to find a way to get it back opened again. Not only is it causing economic havoc to our country and to residents all around this nation, families trying to make ends meet, but you see on top of that, the Iranians finding ways to leverage that, as we allowed them to do with the Chinese for tens of billions of dollars. And so my point is, before we even get to a nuclear negotiation, this regime is getting money to rebuild, purchase more drones, cause more havoc. And this is before we're even trying to get back to...
But I apologize, I don't understand how they're getting this. What revenue are you referring to?
Well, there's 2 sources of revenue we're seeing. One is the revenue from the Chinese, that's factually documented. And number 2, the revenue that you're proposing that they should receive by releasing all of their highly enriched uranium, as well as in making a commitment about their enrichment capacities.
Yeah.
Hold on. And that was the exact deal that you
Where was
guys
all this concern in the crazy eyes during the Obama era, buddy?
is vilified, that the president and you vilified President Obama from having.
Yeah. No,
So
I
here
don't
we
think those
have
are
a
not the
worse situation where
Those are not the same
our
deals.
adversary and our enemy, who's causing havoc in the region, who is funding proxies and terrorists, has discovered, thanks to you all, the power of shutting down the Strait of Hormuz.
No, they didn't
which
discover.
is
They
all-
knew that a long time ago, and they've done it before.
Clearly, we all knew that a long time ago. That's why this
And they intended to do this at
ill-conceived
some point
war
in the
should have
future
never
as well.
happened.
Yeah, but
you have made our adversary in a stronger negotiating position. We are the strongest nation on the planet Earth, and we're in a stalemate with Iran.
Because
And now we're begging to get back into
who gave them billions and pallets of cash again?
a deal that you all
We're not
trashed
begging.
in the first place.
There's no one begging. I don't
Clearly,
know.
this is a
Senator
shame-
Senator Booker, your time's up.
But can
Senator
I just-
Rubio, since he's
I do
gone
want to
over, you
address some
can
of these points
respond.
because they go to the heart of the matter. No one's begging for anything here. The Iranians might be begging because their economy's losing hundreds of millions of dollars a day. That they are losing. Understand, Iran had street protests going on before all of this started. All of those factors, economic factors in Iran, are far worse today than they were 6 months ago when those protests were happening. They have hyperinflation. Their currency's completely devalued. They're struggling to make payroll for their government workers. Iran is in a very serious situation. And if it was up to the political class there, and I understand everybody there is sort of radical in some way, but if it was up to the people that actually like go to elections and wear the suits and you see on TV, they'd probably make a deal tomorrow. It's the issue they're facing is that the supreme leader and the IRGC Corps are a little bit more immune from those pressures until they can be convinced otherwise. And I think that's the direction that they're moving in, because the reality, I don't know where you're getting this perception that Iran is stronger. Iran has no navy left. They've lost a substantial percentage
What an absolutely insane thing to suggest.
their defense industrial base, that Iran has lost a substantial percentage of their missile launchers, and their economy is far worse today, and I mean far worse today, than it was 6 to 9 months ago. And they are looking at hundreds of billions of dollars of reconstruction costs just to get to where they were 6 months
Mr. Rubio, you keep telling us how we're winning this war. The president keeps saying,
well, the war's over
completely annihilated.
Yeah, what war?
The war is not over. And yet the American people see how we're losing at the pump and with their costs, and yet this thing still hasn't been resolved. Every day he tweets out, oh, we've obliterated them, we've annihilated them, they're going to surrender. But yet we still find ourselves spending billions of dollars a week
Senator
on
Booker,
a war abroad.
you've gone way over, and
Your budget request here would sadly perpetuate that trend and undermine the roles and responsibilities that you should be fulfilling as Secretary of State. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Okay, I didn't get to answer any of that.
I didn't ask you a question.
But that's not how it works, bitch.
Well, she didn't answer the question. She doesn't want me to answer? Can I answer anyway?
I didn't ask him a
Okay.
question.
Well, but she made a bunch of points. I get to answer them, right? First of
Yeah.
all, I don't understand this thing. But let me tell you, we were just here. Maybe you weren't here. We were just talking about it. We did a peace deal with Azerbaijan and Armenia. We just signed the TRIP agreement yesterday, actually, or last week. We signed it. Last night I officialized it. That was diplomacy.
That's great, but the Trump administration has still blown through more
when do I
money
get
in
to talk to you?
14
Do I get to talk to
than this entire budget that you're requesting.
Senator Duckworth, I'm going to let Senator Rubio reply to the statements that you made at his request.
Yeah, that's.
But we've got a hard stop at 12:30.
Okay, but I know, but you said a lot of stuff. I get to answer some of it. All right, so the first is the second is India-Pakistan. We ended that war. We were involved in helping broker that. Thailand, Cambodia, that's diplomacy. We've been very engaged in fact, as I sit here now speaking to you, I've got the Lebanese government and the Israeli government meeting at the State Department starting at 8:30 this morning for the 4th time after engaging last week at the military level. So we're carrying out now, we're carrying out diplomacy all over the world constantly and very successfully in many cases. Now, let me make one more point that you raised about the budget request. Guys, we understand how this process works, okay? You guys understand. I know, because I've been involved all the time. We OMB, produces sort of timelines for every agency. We put forward a budget. We say, this is the money we've been allocated. This is how we would spend it. There is a congressional process, which I'm sure you're aware of. And in my time here, 16 years that I was here, I don't ever recall us once ever taking the president's budget and passing it into law. I'm not walking away from the budget. We can make it work if that's the budget you give us. But I have a sense, I have a suspicion, right, Senator Schatz, that we're going to have to work with you guys, that we're going to have to, well, you know, that we're going to have to work with you guys on a budget request that meets your priorities and ours. That's how it works. You guys are the appropriators. We have to work within we will tell you what we care about. We will tell you how we're going to spend the money. But ultimately, you will provide us a spending bill, and we will work through those parameters. But we have given you what we can live with. We can make it work. But if you wanted, if you're obviously going to have changes here in the Congress. But this stuff about diplomacy and the money spent on the war, diplomacy's always cost less money. We don't buy missiles. We don't buy rockets. We don't buy large airplanes and aircraft carriers. But we've been very effective. And I can give you list after list of places where we have had an impact in either de-escalating crisis before it started or ending active wars. And I'm very proud of the work that we've done in that regard, some of which haven't even been publicly discussed in some cases because they weren't high profile. And my last point, we remain heavily engaged in areas that may or may not at the core of our national interest.
Oh, that's it. I don't know if I can take more Duckworth. Oh, no, Rosen, sorry.
You were at a party with President Trump in Miami instead of accompanying Vice President Vance to Pakistan.
So?
For negotiations.
What party was I at?
Your what? Are you going to answer?
Was that a party?
It's publicly reported, and there's photos.
Yeah, but so which one then?
But what party? No, but you're going to say that. I'm going to answer it. I'm going to answer that question because that's an absurd statement.
What's the party, ma'am?
I was not at a party.
When I finish my paragraph, he can answer.
People are going to slander me. I'm going to answer
Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner,
Disgusting.
both of whom were never confirmed by this body to be America's diplomats, accompanied the vice president in the negotiations. Even Iran's foreign minister was not there, yet was there, and you were not. I just feel that's embarrassing for us, and it's embarrassing for you. So, Mr. Secretary, Congress represents the American people. We have the power to confirm who represents America abroad. We confirmed you to be our Secretary of State. We confirmed you to be in the negotiations that are happening. And it's just unthinkable to me that you are missing high-stakes negotiations or that you're not involved. It's sad.
Senator Rosen, your time's up.
Yield back.
So let me
shut up.
Secretary Rubio.
You're 100% inaccurate and 100% wrong. Here's why. Number one, the Vice President of the United States was there, and he wasn't confirmed by us, and he was elected by the American people. Okay? He is the second in line to the presidency of the United States. He was present. Mr. Witkoff is the president's envoy for negotiation for peace deals. Mr. Kushner is a private citizen that serves as an advisor on these functions. They were the team that we sent to Pakistan. I was not at a party. Where I was is next to the president, because in the midst of those negotiations, I was in communications with them. And in fact, I think there is media reporting from that evening on how on multiple occasions I went into a back room, I came back out and spoke to the president and was constantly updating him. On that evening, I spoke to Mr. Kushner and our negotiating team and Mr. Witkoff on at least 6 occasions, including twice on a secure line from the phone they had access to over there. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're just
Rosen, he has the floor.
I know your staff wrote up this cute statement for your TikTok video, but it's not true, and it's not real. That's not what happened. Okay? I'm the National Security Advisor and Secretary of State. I was co-located with the president in the midst of a high-stakes negotiation so that I could,
which he's supposed to be,
immediately inform him about events occurring halfway around the world. I was where I needed to be at that moment because we had a very capable team on the ground in Pakistan, led by the Vice President of the United States.
Thank
you. Insane, these people.
Challenge we have here is that Cuba needs to be in treasury. So the fundamental challenge we have here is that Cuba needs to be, in order for it not to continue to be a failed state, which poses a threat to the United States, they need systemic and serious reform. They need to have economic reforms, and the question is, can they possibly reform given the people who are currently in charge, both of Gaesa and of their government?
Total mess.
I think the answer is they can. I really don't believe this system is capable of reform unless new people take over or a new mindset takes hold. Now, we've engaged in conversations with them. We've offered them what I think needs to happen in order for their economy to recover. And that's the last point I would make, because I think somebody raised this issue of oil blockade. Cuba was having blackouts well before January 3rd of this year. They were having blackouts for years. And they were having blackouts for 2 reasons. Number one, no one will give you free oil except Maduro. That's what's changed here. What's changed here is they're no longer getting free oil from Venezuela. And number two, the main reason why they have energy blackouts is because they didn't invest a single dollar back into their plants, back into improving their plants. And they could have bought this equipment from any company in the world, but they didn't invest in it. Instead, they invested it to build tourist hotels that now sit empty, because there's no tourism into Cuba. So Cuba's a little bit more complicated than Venezuela, but it's a mess.
Police have just arrested Democrat congressional candidate Kirill Basin in Hawaii for pulling a firearm on officials after storming a government building. Oh, yeah, that... Bright idea there, Kirill. Good one.
Maui police arrested congressional candidate Kirill Basin for terroristic threatening today for allegedly threatening multiple county workers while carrying a gun. He allegedly had an argument on Wednesday with council member Tom Cook and staff members. Then in Wailuku this morning, police locked down a county building while officers searched for the 40-year-old. 3 hours later, they found Basin in Kihei. Maui police arrested congressional candidate Kirill Basin for
What a genius. Oh, hi, bot. Okay, Arizona Democrat congressional candidate Joanna Mendoza runs away when asked if she thinks it's extremely important for taxpayers to fund transgender surgeries. Of course it is. How else are we going to trans the kids?
Hello, Ms. Mendoza. Do you still think it's extremely important for taxpayers to fund transgender surgeries as well as hormone replacement therapy? No comment, Ms. Mendoza?
Nothing. Nope. Florida legislature formally approves abolishing property taxes for most primary homeowners statewide. So for your primary home, that's good. Should be that way.
President, I waive close.
The Secretary will unlock the board. Well, the Secretary will unlock the board and the senators proceed to vote. Have all senators voted? Have all senators? You got what? I'm voting. You're good.
17-year-old boy injured in a shooting after fights broke out during a teen takeover. Ah, the youth. Just doing what youths do. Well, okay then. Guess we don't get to see the shooting. Oh well. Kids will be kids. Oh, speaking of, here's another teen takeover, this time North Carolina. 3 North Carolina women facing criminal charges after a teen takeover event at a trampoline park. Oh, it turned violent. Oh no. Always seems to be a certain flavor of teen at these. Maybe it's just me. Goodness gracious. Can't have anything nice anymore.
With what
House Oversight Committee has now passed more than a dozen anti-fraud bills designed to combat taxpayer fraud and strengthen oversight.
Your committee really on the forefront of almost everything that's happening across the nation, with what seems like really just more and more getting added to your plate each and every month. How many cases is
a lot of cleanup to do.
The committee currently working on?
Well, we have about 65 to 75 open probes. We have about 40 ongoing investigations where we're doing depositions and transcribed interviews. So we have a very aggressive schedule. I have around 65 currently full-time employees on the oversight committee. Most are attorneys. So we're busy every minute, even in days like today when we're not in session in Washington. My staff's still working. They're sending me memos to approve and things like that. So we're hard at it, but there's a lot to be done. There's no shortage of opportunities when your committee's focus is waste, fraud, abuse, and mismanagement in the federal government.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you just hit that key word, fraud. One big topic generating just so much interest nationwide is that word fraud. How many ways is your committee investigating fraud of those cases, and also in how many states?
Well, we're heavily in 2 states. We're fixing to expand that to 3 more states. We're obviously, we've been on the ground in Minnesota and in California, really investigating fraud within the welfare programs. I mean, we're seeing massive fraud, especially in the Minneapolis area. Especially revolved around the Somali community, but not exclusive to the Somali community. And then in California, we're seeing rampant Medicaid fraud, especially with respect to the hospice program. We've seen dozens of people already convicted and indicted in Minnesota. We've seen one sentenced to over 40 years in prison for being the mastermind of that Somali fraud scheme in Minnesota. In California, we've had over 500 entities that were certified and getting paid by Medicaid for hospice removed from the program. We've got tens of millions of dollars frozen into those states in welfare programs until the states can work with us to get a handle on the fraud. So these are ongoing investigations that are already seeing huge dividends to the American taxpayer.
Good. Sean Duffy becomes the first transportation secretary to fly in an electrical vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, VTOL.
Next move.
An eVTOL, sorry, that's what they're called. That's the official designation.
Sean Duffy becomes the first transportation secretary to fly in an electrical vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, otherwise known as eVTOL. On Monday, he shared a video of him taking flight with Beta Technologies CEO Kyle Clark at the company's headquarters in Burlington, Vermont. Back in March, Duffy announced partnerships with 8 projects involving lead aircraft manufacturers and operators across 25 states. They include a range of concepts such as urban air taxis, emergency response, and autonomous flight. Duffy affirms regional travel in America will win the race for the next generation of aviation.
This is freaking amazing. Nice flying, man. I'm at Beta Technologies. This American company is going to fundamentally change the
There's no sound. Thank God. Probably a good thing. Boston City Hall raises an LGBTQ plus flag as a choir sings Pride Month carols. Yeah, that's right. Pride Month caroling. A Pride Month caroling group. Cringe. You. Ew. Bit odd. Oh, it said half staff, huh? China tightening its grip of the sharing of trade secrets, including cracking down on job-hopping employees and expanding confidentiality rules to cover data and algorithms as it strives for technological self-reliance. So is this like internally, like among Chinese companies or between international outfits? Been determined to present itself as a world leader in high-tech sectors, pouring billions into its robotics and artificial intelligence industries. But suspicions of bad actors, particularly the United States, that's rich coming from them, has grown as Beijing treats technological dominance as a matter of national security. Apparently they are not retarded like us. National Watchdog launched a month-long campaign on Monday aimed at protecting trade secrets and safeguarding industrial development, focusing on key areas such as biomedicine, integrated circuits, and AI. Yep. And those are the big ones. Okay. Bolsonaro at the Oval Office today, I guess. Dan Goldman fuming. Why not?
Out in front of
Damn Goldman. We'll go with that.
90 Broadway in Manhattan here, where I just observed several Mega Master hearings, a new concept.
Mega Master?
EOIR, the Department of Justice's Immigration Enforcement, where they are essentially having an assembly line of immigration cases.
Sounds good to me. Yep. Get them on out.
As much as 100 people who are supposed to appear. It is literally a factory at this point. Just roll.
Well, yeah. How do you think they got in here?
Rolling people through.
So one way is bad, other way fine.
And it's disgraceful. It is a blatant violation of due process.
So no due process for whether or not they should be brought in the first place, but as soon as we want to boot them out because they're, not supposed to be here, all of a sudden then due process?
Let's be very, very clear. I will keep going back. We will keep fighting. We will keep elevating this because it is un-American and unacceptable. Out in front of...
Disgusting. Sexting scandal. Mr. Plattner, sir.
And candidates running is social media. Anything you put down in social media is going to come back to haunt you. That didn't happen it hadn't been that long ago that it wasn't.
Nazi tattoo, praised Hamas raid, embraced political violence, suggested fighting fascism with guns, used all cops are bastards slogan, called rural Americans racist and stupid, identified as communist and socialist, downplayed rape. Just for good measure, because all the other ones just weren't bad enough. You had to put the cherry on top.
A big problem, but it's going to be a huge problem in the future.
I want to...
Oh, yeah, and he downplays rape.
Talk about the tolerance level among Democrats in particular.
In Canada,
160 more drugs to this site.
Oh.
I've got an announcement that today we are adding 160 more drugs to this site. Now, the site already has 700 or so, or 600 or so drugs, so it's going to take it over 750 total. But that is an important number for other reasons. It means that 4 out of 5 medications that are picked up by Americans going into that same drugstore that I mentioned earlier now have the opportunity to double check that the price they're getting in that drugstore, or wherever they're buying it from, is the best price out there. So it's a transparency site. It gives everybody the ability to make important decisions about medications they're purchasing with full knowledge of what the cost of those medications are. And that's important because transparency drives cost-effective changes in how we procure and consume products. You would never buy a car without knowing the cost of the car. Some of these medications cost what a car costs. And so these are important assets for the American people to have. I've got an announcement that today...
Waha.
When the president came in for this term, he commented on how challenging it had been to deal with the affordability crisis in pharmaceutical medications, often commenting on the fact that he'd been able to reduce the price by 1/8 of 1% at one point in the first administration, and he thought that was a massive achievement because it's usually just skyrocketing. And it's an important issue for a lot of folks in America because almost 1 in 3 Americans, when they go to a pharmacy to pick up a medication that their doctors prescribe for them, leaves empty-handed because they can't afford the medication, especially for branded products. And part of the reason for this, it's unknown to a lot of Americans, but is well recognized by the president and this administration, is that our drug prices are about 3 times higher on average than the same drugs made in the same facilities in the same American factories oftentimes than they are charging patients overseas in Europe, Asia, and other parts of the world. It's global freeloading. It's wrong. The President demanded that we change it, and as most of you know, we spent much of last year negotiating with the 17 largest pharmaceutical companies that drive over 80% of the entire business in branded pharmaceuticals, and every single one of them agreed to a most favored nation drug pricing strategy, which simply stated means that these medications, especially going into the future, will be priced at the same amount as the rest of the world. It doesn't mean price fixing. We're not telling pharmaceutical companies what to charge. We're saying to them, whatever you charge us, you got to charge the other folks, which means we might be able to help you overseas to get better pricing so that you can make up some of the losses that you'll experience here. And, the Council of Economic Advisors estimated that the benefit of the President's negotiated program is about $600 billion over the next 10 years, $600 billion of savings.
Not too bad.
Walk you through a couple of these examples because our goal is to stop the money from ever leaving the building. That is the best way to protect the American taxpayer. As you know, we were in Minnesota last week where the largest autism takedown occurred. A mother and a daughter, adult daughter, were accused of tens of millions of dollars of theft. And just
nice.
to put this in perspective, the
mommy-daughter.
reason these are so important is
A family affair.
Defraud the system. You don't just take money out of the system. People steal your money. The money from our most vulnerable Americans are going to steal their health. They'll steal their life. And that's what we have been seeing in some of these takedowns. Unfortunately, when these events don't happen in a timely fashion, you lose the whole program. So in Minnesota, the state itself stopped non-emergency medical transportation, which is when you need someone to take you to the doctor's appointment. They cut the whole program. It's gone. It's finished. Because they could not deal with the fraud. It went from an estimated $1 million a year, how much can it cost to take a card to a doctor's office, to over $100 million a year. So they killed the program. And that, of course, we believe, because it doesn't provide the kind of care we desire for our fellow Americans, can be problematic. We don't want that to happen in other endeavors as well. So we've been working with the state of Minnesota. We're not happy with some of the things we've been encountering as we look at their receipts on the services they provided, which is why we deferred $350 million to the state of Minnesota, and we're waiting to hear feedback from them. Other states have also been problematic. California comes to mind, where we've made several trips of late. 1/3 of all of the hospice in the entire country. And hospice is a precious, beautiful program built in the 80s to take care of people with dignity in the last months of their life. Classically, someone has metastatic cancer. They're going to die. It's going to happen in a few months. You give up your Medicare, because why would you want Medicare? You don't need all those things. Take hospice instead. But that trade has risks with it if you don't actually have a lethal problem. And when 1/3 of all the hospices in the entire country are in Los Angeles, not even California, and Los Angeles, that creates issues.
What? That's crazy.
First of all, it's not plausible, but it also means someone's been ignoring the problem. And in fact, there was a call 4 years ago by the state auditor in California to address these problems. It was not managed, so our agency has now suspended payments to 850, almost half of all the hospices in California now have been suspended, but they're no longer being paid. And we're going to keep aggressively going at this problem, because when we go after hospice in California, guess what happens? Hospice in Nevada went up 7-fold. Hospice in Arizona, hospice in Texas, they've all gone up. These scoundrels run to other areas. I just learned this morning, now they're infiltrating the home health care space in California, which is equally a problem, because now they're taking advantage of a different sector of the population, this time Medicaid, but using nefarious techniques and technologies to do that as well. And again, these are organized criminal syndicates, we believe, in many instances.
Yep. You betcha.
Moratorium expands beyond. Industry groups are really concerned about growth and employment getting hurt if that moratorium expands beyond 6 months. Would you rule out an extension of that moratorium, or do you expect that it's going to be expanded?
I'm not going to rule out an extension. We have been talking to industry groups about these moratoria. In fact, just as for everybody watching, all of you as well, we benefit from whistleblowers. Our most important whistleblowers have been members of industry who know the game, know how you can cheat it if you're unethical, and they point out to us when these problems occur. So we do not want to hurt the folks who are earnestly involved in hospice, in durable medical equipment, suppliers, personal care services. They're good people in these businesses. But we're going to slow down the growth of these sectors till we can get our arms around the problem, because it is of massive magnitude to us. Well, we are tracking illegal immigrants taking advantage of all health care plans. We've already recouped. We've actually told California they owe us $2 billion. We've got half of it back already. I'm confident we'll get the rest because they have state-based programs that we don't have a lot of visibility into, but because of the Working Families Tax Cut legislation and other rulemaking, we are no longer allowing foreign folks who are here illegally to benefit from these programs. And just to put it in context, in California, if you're on Medi-Cal, the Medicaid program in California, until this administration, you got full dental and full vision benefits. Now, I'm for those benefits. I like them, but we don't give that to Medicare patients. And so we should at least be equitable, and all of us together should decide what we are going to do as a nation. So if we as a country decide we're going to go in one direction, you can't have states splintering off if they're going to spend the other people's money. The fraud, for example, that I'm talking about and the use of money for illegal immigrants, the people who pay that bill when it, for example, the largesse of California allows folks to get benefits that the rest of the country doesn't think is appropriate for illegal immigrants or home health care providers. That money is paid by folks who are taxpayers in New Mexico, which is a blue state, and Mississippi, a red state. So this is not partisan. Everybody is taxed extra and has to put more into the kitty because some states are doing things that we don't think as a country we would like to have happen. That's why this administration has been so dogged in this issue and why the president has been so aggressive.
Okay. Oh, come back here.
Talk to the president about what he's sent to all of you, and I think it's just a routine, regular exam. You remember I had the president on my show 10 years ago, and he also presented records, and at the time I was stunned at how well he was doing, because so many of these numbers naturally over time will start going in the wrong direction. But if you look at these records, they're spectacular. You know, his cholesterol, his blood pressure, all the numbers are starting in excellent parameters. His ability and
his physical.
Love Medicaid. The president has already said he loves it.
All right, let's keep going. There's got to be more after this. Harmeet Dillon calling for the recusal of Fulton County Judge Eleanor Ross from the Georgia election integrity case after it was revealed the judge allegedly attended a celebratory event honoring Fannie Willis. Yeah. Clear conflict of interest, I'd say. Judge who shows up to honor the very prosecutor driving these politically charged cases has no business presiding over them, you would think. Senate has just advanced President Trump judicial nominee Jeffrey Kuhlman to be district judge for District Kansas 5246. Another one. Oh, hey, that's cool. Excuse me. Jeez. Trump's Interior Department plants 13 Revolutionary War statues at Freedom Plaza, one for each colony. The same DC site that served as a staging ground for 2020 George Floyd protests and years of political protests. A ribbon-cutting ceremony will mark the transformation as America approaches Big 250. I'm gonna need about 250. Can we see him? We saw there. Okay, there's one. Neato. Paul Revere, I assume, with the lantern. And what's on his head? Looks like a fancy hat. Okay. Trump announces executive order to shut down the bank accounts used to facilitate illegal immigration or give illegal aliens welfare. Interesting. Timu Obama holding a briefing on Trump's agenda.
I think we all recognize the sensitivities of the moment in terms of an unprecedented Jim Crow-like assault on black political representation that has been unleashed by the Supreme Court's outrageous decision to gut the Voting Rights Act.
Yeah, tell him, Hakeem.
This morning,
Bill Pulte has proven himself willing to act as Trump's political puppet, Chuck says.
Trump appointed Bill Pulte to serve as acting director of national intelligence, something that should send a shiver down the spine of everyone. Bill Pulte has proven
I bet it sent a shiver down your spine, what little is left of it.
Himself willing to act as a Trump political puppet, filing baseless, outrageous, politically motivated charges on Trump's behalf. And now Trump wants to put him in charge of intelligence?
You bet.
Americans need an intelligence chief to be loyal to the facts. If you're not loyal to the facts and intelligence, you're not protecting our security. He needs the intelligence and security teams to pay attention to the security of the nation, not to the political interests of one man, which is what Pulte has done over and over and over again. Just paid attention to the
Yeah, I mean, you got any evidence to present, or
the political
you're just
interests
going to say stuff?
of one man. At a time of
You're just going to say stuff.
growing threats around the world, Trump's choice makes one thing clear. He's not looking for independent intelligence. He's looking for political validation. The intelligence community exists to protect the American people, not to serve as another instrumentality of presidential retribution. Republicans should be speaking out swiftly and loudly. The job is too important.
Okay. John Soon on Bill Pulte.
Do you think that Bill Pulte has the experience to be the acting DNI, and same with you, Senator Cotton, as the chairman of the Intelligence Committee? Is he the kind of person you want leading the Intelligence Committee?
I'll defer to the chairman on that. We were just made aware of that appointment this morning. Obviously, it's something that if the administration decides to pursue a permanent appointment to that position, have to come through the Congress and have confirmation hearings and ultimately a vote here in the Senate. But Senator Cotton, you want to speak to that?
We have 4 more weeks with Director Gabbard as the DNI, and I look forward to implementing last year's Intelligence Authorization Act with her to implement wide-ranging reforms that will shrink the DNI and take it back to its original intent to provide a mere coordinator or process role for the intelligence community.
And Pulte's
I have no observations on the matter.
Leader Thune, in light of the...
Mark Wayne Mullen here.
Senator Murphy, the outlandish claims you made there is just flat wrong. You start saying we're breaking the law, and you really start looking at it, and we're enforcing the laws that Congress did pass. That's reckless. When you start saying it's unconstitutional, what's unconstitutional that we're doing? We swore to uphold the Constitution just like you swore to uphold the Constitution. For you to throw my 275,000 employees underneath DHS and with a broad stroke like that is reckless and irresponsible on your part. We're doing the job that Congress gave us the authority to do. And our men and women out there every single day is enforcing the laws. If you don't like the laws, you can change them. We're not picking and choosing which laws we enforce. We're simply enforcing the law. Period. Full stop. Senator Murphy,
Pretty simple.
Over again, that use their... We see courts over and over again that use their bench for their political opinion, not just the rule of law. And we can see that because we see how many times they're overturned.
I didn't say court orders you obey based upon whether you believe that
what I said
to be political.
Don't put words in my mouth. That's
what are you saying then?
What I'm saying is we'll
fuck you, Murphy.
Force the law, and we're never going to break the Constitution. We see courts over and over.
He just slack-jawed.
Constitution.
Wow.
We see.
Senate Intel Vice Chair Mark Creepy Weirdo Warner on acting intelligence director Bill Pulte.
So we saw your statement here. Are you worried that they're going to try to keep him in there without confirmation?
Somebody should check this guy's hard drive.
Well, Mr. Pulte has absolutely no intelligence background. He has no national security background. The law was written to prevent this kind of appointment. What he does have is a record of manipulating public information, even as the housing czar, to try to pursue attacks against President Trump's enemies. So the idea that President Trump picked this guy, I fear, to use all the information in the intelligence agencies to potentially go after Trump opponents, or the law says he can stay for 6 months. Well, 6 months conveniently takes him through the election. And the notion that somebody who's got no experience in this field, no background, but has, again, used his experience to try to go after Trump enemies like Lisa Cook at the Fed and Adam Schiff as a senator, taking private information and leaking it to weaponize that information. Think what he can do with all of the information from the intelligence agencies. And it is so insulting to the men and women who work in those communities. They help keep our country safe, and now you've got a guy and the president who obviously so disrespects the intelligence community. They says this guy with no experience can still keep being housing czar and also be overseeing all of our intelligence agencies. You know, the question is going to be, our intelligence work has always been bipartisan. Are we going to finally hit the gag reflex?
Oh, yeah, I bet you know a lot about that one, don't you?
So we saw your statement.
Yes, Mark is well practiced with the gag reflex.
Yesterday, and as the Can you talk about your meeting with the president yesterday, and is the anti-weaponization fund dead? Not paused, but dead.
Well, look, I'll let the Department of Justice speak to that. I believe that it is off the table for consideration. I know that the Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche is testifying to Congress today, I believe, and so I think he'll address it with more clarity there.
Did you tell him to drop it?
Well, I told him that it was a difficult prospect right now, given our vote tallies, and look, I understand the intent behind it was a very noble thing. The government clearly was weaponized against Americans. The Department of Justice itself was, and the president made clear that this was something that he wanted to address, that for redress for people who were harmed by the government, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and everyone. He said that himself, and so that's what was behind it, but I don't think it was fully understood, and that's what made it a difficult thing. So we'll see what happens. I think his reaction was...
Super PACs controlled by the...
Bernie Sanders defending Graham Plattner now. Are you kidding me?
That Republican super PACs controlled by the wealthiest people in this country are spending plan to spend $100
billionaire, money.
$1 million in
a he just did it.
Very small state like Maine. Extraordinary amount of money. Now, why do the richest people in this country want to defeat Graham Plattner? That should tell you everything you need to know, because he's going to stand up for working people. Is he a saint? I guess not. I don't know too many states here.
Wow, man. No shame. Oh, this idiot. As president, Obama claims he would read 10 letters a day sent to him by ordinary Americans. Yeah, sure you did, buddy.
The last two times...
Oh my gosh, look at her. Seriously? Where'd they pull this makeover out of?
President Obama has come to Chicago and visited the museum.
Oh, that's just creepy.
He has paused extra long in front of the exhibit that describes the 10 letters a day that he used to receive every day. He received thousands of pieces of correspondence on any given day, and his correspondence unit would select 10 letters that were representative of the letters that came in that day. Some were very positive, some were very negative. The issues varied depending upon the day, but they would pick out this representative sample. And then in the evening, as he was doing his work, he would pull out the letters and take a look at them. He wanted to read those letters because he always wanted to connect with the American people. He wanted them to know that he saw them, that he
Oh my gosh.
understood their plight, and that he would offer his words of wisdom to them.
Some of these letters
Wow.
make me cry, still.
And she just fall down and worship at the altar of Obama, Valerie.
So each
Oh, wait.
time he's paused to reread the letters which he remembers from when they first came in, and to look at this beautiful film that narrates the letters and his responses. The 2 times he's watched it, he's walked away and he says, "Gets to me every time." And that's how he felt every night when he read the letters from the American people.
Young speed cuber from China solves a 2x2 Rubik's Cube in an unbelievable 0.39 seconds. Get the fuck out of here. What? Get the fuck out of here. Huh? Yeah, slow motion. Thank you. What the f- What did they put in their milk? Jeez. Three House committee chairs demand interviews with 5 Act Blue board members over allegations the Democratic fundraising giant misled Congress about its foreign donation screening practices. Wonder why they would have done that. Let's see.
Meanwhile, President Trump is directing the Justice Department to investigate Act Blue. This is a Democratic donation platform, and the focus as the allegations about illegal straw donors and foreign contributions. Mark Meredith is live in Washington with more. This has been brewing for a while, Mark. What do we need to know?
Dana, for years, you're right about this, but this is a big development. The White House is directing the Attorney General to investigate the Democratic Party's top fundraising platform. It's called Act Blue, and the president says he wants to know if foreign money is being donated to the group and then utilized to sway elections. Democrats are calling this probe a dangerous abuse of power. Act Blue is an enormous operation in Democratic politics. It's
all right. Investigating it is a dangerous abuse of power. Actually committing the crime, however, well, who cares?
Raised more than $16 billion since 2004. You may have seen the text pop up from candidates saying, please donate, go to the Act Blue website. Republicans use something similar called Win Red. There was a new memo signed on Thursday directing the Attorney General to investigate if foreign nationals are using the Act Blue platform to bypass campaign finance laws.
Oh, they are.
Trump wants a report out in 6 months. Republicans who've been looking to this for years up on the Hill say a formal federal investigation is long overdue.
We know nefarious countries that don't have the United States interests at heart are looking for ways to influence and impact U.S. policy. Making sure that we're closing the door to that as it relates to campaign finance and as it relates to actually voting in U.S. elections is absolutely essential.
Act Blue says it's ready to defend itself, including through the courts. Overnight, the new chairman of the Democratic National Committee released a blistering statement accusing Trump of trying to silence his opposition. Ken Mort writing, Trump is trying to block lawful grassroots donations from supporters, giving just $5 or $10 to candidates who oppose him, while further empowering the corrupt billionaires who already control his administration. And Danny, you'll love this. This controversy could end up helping Act Blue, at least in the short term. The website is now raising money off the investigation, encouraging people to donate to Act Blue, mentioning it's a Trump target. It's right there on their front page.
Yeah, probably nothing better than to fuel those donations for the moment. Thank you.
Yeah. Kevin McCarthy, former Speaker of the House, joins us now. Good morning.
All right. Anything else here? Did I take anything while I was looking? Oh, yeah, here's more from Southampton. Look at this. Literally chasing him out of town.
They're running them out. They're running them out. They're chasing him with bins.
Little garbage bins.
They've got them. They're running them out. Come on, you cunt. Come on, you cunt.
Dang. I understand at least one of the police involved in the incident where the young man who had been stabbed by an Indian to death was choking out on his own blood, and you know, these cops arrested him rather than offering him medical assistance. Kept trying to tell them, I've been stabbed, and the response was something to the effect of, no, you haven't, mate. No, you haven't. Nope. Disgusting. So at least one of them has resigned so far. It's not going to be enough, though, in my opinion. They ought to face serious charges for what occurred there. It's disgusting. Rather uncomfortable to watch, but it's going to take some uncomfortable things, I think, for them, as far gone as they are, to push back against the madness. It's good to see the looks like pretty widespread support.
One of the residents has stuck the boot in. Oh my goodness!
People have had it, man. Yikes.
The police are getting it from the locals. Now they're being run into a larger group.
I don't know what this group of officers was in the area to do, but the people were not having it. Man. Wow, that's quite a crowd. Jeez. Okay, well, that does it for me. I'm not gonna be here tomorrow either, you guys. I gotta work. I gotta start, like, saving money up, so I'm gonna be working all day tomorrow, and I'm gonna have to find someone to cover tomorrow evening. So I will see you guys Thursday instead. I think. I might even be busy Thursday too, I don't know. We shall see, we shall see. But for now, Sir Sketch Danger is in. How you doing, man?
What is going on, man?
There he is. What's up? How you been?
Oh, I'm blessed.
Good to hear.
Okay. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I'm here. It's Tuesday.
Good.
I'm hoping Spencer Pratt wins. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, man. So what's I haven't been keeping up today. What's the what the latest is? How's it looking?
4 o'clock there, so their polls don't close for like another 4 hours, I think.
Tonight, okay.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. Oh boy, it's exciting stuff.
Yeah. Apparently, there's been some shenanigans.
I have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was trying to find some of that.
Oh, you're gonna cover it? Good. Cool. That was one of the things I wanted to get into tonight, but didn't.
Right on.
Cool.
Right on.
Well, it's all you then, man. You have a good show.
I appreciate you, brother. God bless.
Back at you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you. What is going on, folks?
All right, YouTube, I'm done. I'm done. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Steph. Big time, always. And I will see you all when I see you next. I don't know when it's going to be. Hopefully Thursday. Okay, bye-bye.